A complete workflow to launch your membership, part two. Yes, today is part two. And this is the workflow that we're going to teach you how to put together in detail, which starts with a post. So it all starts with a Facebook post, posting something, a link to a sales page for someone that may be interested in joining your membership. They have something to kind of peek at. And if they are interested, then they're going to see the gate or sales page. They're going to go ahead and sign up if they say, yes, I want to be part of this and pay. And then they're going to see the main content. I'm going to cover that. And then we're going to encourage you guys to create a Facebook group to be part of this membership. And that's where a lot of the ongoing Facebook Lives and training can be hosted. So this is the workflow we're going to go through in a few weeks. Today we're going to focus on the first two parts of this, but the main components is a preview post. That's the ones generated when someone shares the link. And then the app gate content, which is your sales page or opt-in page. And main content and the group settings, we're going to leave that for the next few weeks. But today we're going to focus on the first two. So we got quite a bit to cover. So I'm gonna speed through this, but you could listen to it at your own pace. If you are watching and building at the same time, I would say, watch part of it, pause, get to work, hit play again, and keep going. So again, we're gonna go through this workflow. The first part we're going to cover is that newsfeed post and the app gate. So any images, titles, descriptions, we're going to go through that. Any copy you need for that sales page, media, and how to program the access settings. We are assuming that you're using 22 Social. However, a lot of what I'm going to cover really could be applied anywhere. But obviously, yes, we are a little biased. We're going to assume that you're using that. So some of the stuff may be 20 Social specific, but most of it could really be applied anywhere. So the first part is preview posts. When you create a membership, anywhere you make it, you got to make sure that when you have a link to it, first thing you got to do, if you already have a membership, make sure you drop a link to it somewhere on Facebook, either your profile or your Facebook page or in a group, and make sure to see what gets generated when you drop that image and make sure it's correct. It's something that makes sense, because if you've never edited the settings for that wherever you're creating your membership, you may not like what you see. All right, it might be some generic photo and you want to definitely change that. So you definitely want to make sure there's an image. It's the image that makes sense, that's relevant to your membership, that's going to grab the attention of your ideal client. It's a good title. In this case, we are using dog trainers as an example, but obviously you could apply to any kind of training or program online, whether it's fitness training, nutrition, horse training, personal development, business, you name it, pretty much. Cooking courses. There's someone, I think, that launched a membership on teaching people how to do dent removal from cars, like when cars get dinged by a door, on the doors, by other doors and stuff like that. So really any kind of training. But yeah, you do want that headline or that title and then the description. Okay, and the next thing is the post copy. We're going to go through that in a sec. So the preview post image, this is the size we recommend for this image, is 1200 by 630. So if you are watching this and you are building this, you might want to screenshot this, or if you're watching the replay, you could pause it. Make sure it's branded. It makes sense. Like obviously it's dog training. These examples for dog training, so that image makes sense for someone walking a dog and training a dog. And the image itself, you don't want to use a lot of text, because if you do use a lot of text and in the future you want to use it as an ad, you're going to have a little bit of a hard time running it as an ad. So we do recommend that image does not have a lot of text, because Facebook will reject it if you let her want to boost it or run it as an ad. And also relatable to the market. Obviously, if you're fitness training, it's going to be a photo that's relevant, that's going to say, hey, that's probably talking about fitness training. I'm interested. I want to read more. So that's the image right there. There's a lot of sites online. I didn't mention this. Maybe I should add these, but that have free royalty-free images, so you don't get in trouble. There's Pexels online that's pretty popular. There's a few more out there that provide, but a quick little Google search of royalty-free images, you should be fine, which is where these were pulled actually. And that's another example of another image that you can, if you don't want to just straight up have a photo, you could format something like this with a little bit of text, not too much text, and just conveying your message. So here's another example. The description, which is what goes down here, that could be about 135 characters. It's not a lot, but it's something just to give them a little taste of what they're about to go through if they do click on that image or that post. And this is where you would edit that. If you are using 22 Social, this is where you would edit it. At the top of every app, there's a Facebook preview. And if you click on that, then you could upload a photo. You can change that, upload a photo, change that image. You could change the title, you can change that description and go ahead and save it. So that's where that would be edited real quick, just so you know where that's at. In case you already have one built, make sure that's correct. The next part of this is a shared post description. If you notice, this one didn't have, this particular example doesn't have any, but you can get really creative with this. So here's some examples of some posts that are shared. Some other people have done. If you notice, there is a lot of text above. That's not handled through 20 Social that or any other platform. That's actually when you share the post, you can add a description just like you're sharing any other image. So make sure that's where you could have a lot of long text and really incentivize people to click through. So just some ideas for you. The next thing we're going to go through is the gate content, which is it's really your sales page, media, and some access settings. So the first thing we're going to go through, it'll load up when someone clicks on that preview post. And for the copy itself, so just a few things to keep in mind. It's really, I like to break it down into really two parts. This is the first part, is really some text that explains the frustrations that you are addressing with your membership. What are they struggling with? What are the challenges that they're having? So they can say, yeah, you know what, I'm having these challenges. Sounds like it's something for me. And also what they desire, what they want to see happen. If you notice in this text, it says, if you want a better relationship with your dog or feel like you're not connecting or you're not connecting with your dog, this program is for you. So what do they desire? So I'm addressing both frustrations and desires in this text. Use that as an example. I mean, if you want to use this copy verbatim and just transform it into your own expertise or your own industry, you're more than welcome to. This is somewhat thought through, so it does follow those two. But those are the things. That's the first part of this. Also, results that they could be expecting, like what's the end result that you're going to promise me, and some social proof, a testimonial, and also a breakdown. This is important. I mean, I think this should be highlighted very, very clear. What's included? We call them perks sometimes. What are the components? What do I get if I sign up? So that's also very important to have as part of your sales page, is a list of, hey, you're gonna get live Q&A session with the team. You're gonna get tips, training. You're gonna get access to the Facebook group. What do I get? What are the list of items that come with this, other than just the description of what it's going to feel like at the end, which is more of the results side. But that's also important for that copy on that sales page. And obviously your call to action, you got to tell them, hey, sign up. You could give them a monthly option. You can give them a yearly option, or both. Yeah, if you don't ask them to take it to action, they're not going to do it. So definitely very key part of this. And if you do include a video, you could have a graphic, but if the audience is cold, or it's not as warm as it could be, I definitely include a video. And we're going to give an example of a video formula. The first thing is who this is for. This is usually how I tell people to create videos. Who this is for, like, hey, if you are a dog owner who just bought a puppy, that's your avatar, your ideal client. What's the pain point? What's your frustration? If you're having this frustration, if your dog's barking too much, what's the pain point? What's the challenge? And that normally should be done right away, real quick. It should be enough for people to say, yes, I should be watching this video, or no, this video is not for me. Because if it's not, then why waste their time, right? But you want people to feel, people who this is really for, your ideal client who has the challenges or pain points that you're addressing, you want to make sure they feel like they're in the right place and they're going to watch the rest of the video. Otherwise, you're going to lose their attention. So the next part is your story. And there's a few parts to the story that are important. The first part is relating to them. Where in time in your life, if you don't have a time in your life where they're at least maybe use an example of a client that you had in the past that's going through the same frustrations that they're going through. But if you have a personal story, before you started becoming a dog trainer, a fitness trainer, a horse trainer, or a business coach, when did you have that pain point you talked about up here? When did you have that? And tell them that story about you having that same frustration. And then they also say, escalate the problem. Hey, the reason why I wanted to solve that pain point is because I knew XYZ could happen. It could really, really get bad because of this and that. So escalating, what's the worst that could have happened had I not solved the problem? That's why I chose to solve it. And that transition, what did I do to solve it? And what happened? What led me to want to help other people with their dogs, or help other people with their fitness or their business, right? What's that transitional point where you went from having this frustration or pain that I was able to resolve, now I'm helping others? How did that occur? And also credibility. What have you done? Maybe you've helped X amount of clients now. Maybe you have a little story about the kind of results that you get for people or the kind of programs that you've been running. And then the promise, right? What is it that they're going to get? What are you promising out of this membership that they're going to get if they sign up? And the expectation, it's important to be clear. If this is a beginner's course, to say that, to say, hey, this is a beginner's course to get you through the basics, so that they're not expecting that they're going to get every problem under the sun resolved. It's important to be clear. And also so they know that, hey, they are going to get something out of this, right? Now, the next thing is the call to action, and say, hey, yeah, if you're ready to sign up, click the button below, kind of thing. I always include, especially if you're using 22 Social, hey, sign up using your Facebook account, because they will be doing that. And that's sort of part of our magic that allows us to really manage access to a group. So we use Facebook login for that. But that's essentially the formula for the video, for your story, that you can use. It's not the only formula, but it's one that's pretty popular and it's worked well. But if you want to search other outlines out there, I'm sure you can find more. But this is a simple one I think most of you can follow, and it does have the story component. I think was pretty powerful. So really recommend it. The next part I want to go through is access settings, which is if you click on access settings right on the gate of 22 Social, you could set up payment options for your page. It could be a single payment, where if this is a membership, it's more likely a recurring payment. You could have a yearly or a monthly option. You could even do quarterly if it makes sense. But I would honestly stick to monthly and yearly. I wouldn't complicate it unless there's some strange reason why this makes sense. But always something else would make sense. But PayPal. If you're comfortable with PayPal, if you feel people were not going to be familiar with PayPal, we also have Stripe as an option, and it's pretty similar. A setup you can do monthly or and yearly as well. So those are the access settings that you want to set up.